Everything changed literally in a matter of seconds. But this story, it isn't just about one catastrophic play or one unlucky break on the field. No, it is about a ticking clock. Welcome to NFL Nexus. I am your host, and today we are diving incredibly deep into a situation that feels way less like your typical relaxed offseason and honestly more like a cinematic battleground for a franchise that is teetering right on the edge. Before we pull back the curtain on this high-stakes explainer, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment on what you thought about this roster's chances. Support the channel by becoming a channel member. Now look, what we are looking at in Indianapolis right now is definitely not a summer break. The mandatory minicamp has officially kicked off, and let me tell you, the tension in the air in that building is absolutely suffocating.
So, can the Colts actually survive this? That is the central, completely unavoidable question hanging over the Indiana Farm Bureau Football Center right now like a massive dark storm cloud. If you pose that question to the front office, right, you might get a confident, perfectly rehearsed PR answer about next man up and building depth. But if you pose it to the grim reality of their medical tent, the silence is deafening. We're talking about a mounting, terrifying list of injuries to absolute foundational pieces of this roster. And you have to view this through the lens of an agonizing playoff drought that has haunted this entire city. We have a fan base that has literally been counting the days, the months, the years since their last tasted deep postseason glory. The weight inside that building right now is crushing. It's like a giant pressure cooker. Every single rep out there on the practice grass carries immense consequences. The margin for error isn't just small anymore. Actually, scratch that. It has been completely erased.
Section 1. A franchise on the edge. This 3-day mandatory minicamp is the final, absolutely critical stage of OTAs before the team officially breaks for the summer. The voluntary portion of the offseason, that's dead and gone. Now, high-profile stars like lockdown cornerback Sauce Gardner and elite running back Jonathan Taylor have finally entered the building, joining the entire roster to cohese. As you'll see, this is the very first time the incoming rookie class is violently colliding with established, battle-tested veterans. And the ultimate goal here is stark: end the playoff drought. Look, let's be real. This isn't a rebuilding year. This isn't a let's just see what we have and evaluate type of year. The front office has pushed their absolute entire stack of chips right to the center of the table. Every passing drill, every exhaustive film session, every grueling hour in the rehab room is hyper-focused on breaking a postseason curse that has left this fan base completely starving. The pressure to win isn't just a goal up on a whiteboard, it's a mandate. And that mandate rests incredibly heavily on the most important, and currently most fragile, position on the football field. Section 2. The quarterback's grueling rehab. You literally cannot talk about the Indianapolis Colts survivor without talking about Daniel Jones. He is the $88 million man. But right now, he is a man locked in a terrifying, agonizing race against his own biology. Because an Achilles tear isn't just an injury, it is a thief. It robs you of your explosive power. For an NFL quarterback, it completely steals your foundation, your physical ability to plant that back foot into the turf and drive a football 60 yards downfield into a tight window. Let's walk through this timeline meticulously, because the microscopic details here are exactly why the tension is so unbelievably high. Look at the progression. Back in March, the front office placed the transition tab on him and quickly hammered out a massive 2-year, $88 million deal. They committed the absolute treasure chest before ever seeing him run again. By May, he was restricted to limited individual work. That means just throwing on air. No defense, no massive defensive lineman in his face, no pass rush at all. Now, we're in June, and he has finally advanced to 7-on-7 minicamp drills. But notice what is glaringly missing here: the full-speed, chaotic, violent 11-on-11 team drills. The target for that isn't until late July at training camp. The September 13th Week 1 kickoff is approaching like a massive, unstoppable freight train, and they are cutting this recovery window incredibly close. Listen closely to the gravity in head coach Shane Steichen's words here. Quote, "To get him out there in 7-on-7 was huge. We've got to be smart with his injury, but he's making great progress." End quote. Well, what this quote doesn't explicitly tell you, but underlying sources absolutely reveal, is that Steichen actually had to shut Daniel Jones down. Let me explain. Jones is an absolute alpha competitor. He desperately requested to participate in those 11-on-11 team sessions. His competitive fire was completely overriding his medical reality. Steichen had to physically step in and protect his $88 million franchise quarterback from himself. It is a delicate, terrifying high-wire balancing act between pushing a player to get ready for Week 1 and accidentally ending his entire season before it even begins.
Section 3.
collateral damage, and rising tension. If Daniel Jones was the only medical concern on this roster, perhaps the organization could breathe a collective sigh of relief. But he's not. The injury bug isn't just biting the fringes of the practice squad or the special teams unit. It is taking massive, devastating chunks right out of the starting roster. Take a look at this list. Alec Pierce, the #1 wide receiver, recovering from ankle surgery. He is out until late July. Jalen Travis, the absolutely critical right tackle, sidelined with a back injury and relegated to individual work only. But the one that should keep every single defensive coordinator awake at night? DeForest Buckner. He is dealing with a neck injury. And let me tell you exactly why that is terrifying. Buckner is a 6'7", 295-pound leviathan of a human being. Defensive tackle is a position of pure leverage. It is built entirely on violent, crown-of-the-helmet, chest-to-chest collisions on every single snap. Without a structurally sound neck, you literally cannot anchor against double teams. You cannot survive in the NFL trenches. The foundational pillars of both the offense and defense are compromised at the exact same time. Let's zoom in on the sheer magnitude of Alec Pierce's situation for a second. The Colts let Michael Pittman Jr. go. He is no longer in the building. To replace that immense, highly targeted production, they handed Alec Pierce a massive 4-year, $114 million pact, with an exorbitant amount of that money fully guaranteed. Let that number sink in. He is supposed to be the undisputed alpha of this receiving corps. But instead of being out on the grass building vital, unspoken chemistry with whoever is throwing the football, Pierce is recovering from ankle cleanup surgery. In the National Football League, offensive chemistry isn't just given to you. It's forged in the 95-degree July heat through thousands of repetitive reps. Coach Stichin even admitted Pierce could miss the first week or two of training camp. The pressure sitting on Pierce's $114 million shoulders to produce immediately upon his return without a proper offseason is absolutely immense. And you know, the offensive line complications are just as severe. We have to look at the microscopic details here to really understand Jalen Travis's value to this team. Last year, as a rookie 4th-round pick from Iowa State, he wasn't really supposed to play meaningful snaps. But when veteran Braden Smith went down, Travis was violently thrown straight into the fire. And what did he do? He completely over-delivered. He played 316 snaps, starting 4 crucial games against elite game-wrecking defenses like the San Francisco 49ers and the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. He posted a rock-solid 72.2 PFF overall grade and allowed just 1 single sack over that entire span. He flat-out earned this starting right tackle job. But now, he's dealing with a back injury. Put yourself in his shoes for a second. Imagine trying to anchor your body against a 260-pound edge rusher who runs a 4.540. You are trying to bend your knees, hold your ground, and stop a human missile, and your lower back gives out. For an offensive lineman, it is a brutal, terrifying complication that can instantly ruin a season. Section 4, the high-stakes backup battle. So if the offensive line falters, or if Daniel Jones's Achilles isn't ready for live fire, who steps in? The Colts organization knows firsthand the absolute nightmare of losing a starting quarterback. They lived that trauma last year when they had to turn to Phillip Rivers and Riley Leonard down the stretch. They simply cannot afford to be caught off guard again. The anxiety surrounding the backup position in this building is palpable. You can feel it. While Daniel Jones stands on the sideline in a baseball cap managing his rehab, an intense neck-and-neck war is taking place directly in front of him. It's Anthony Richardson Sr. versus Riley Leonard. Make no mistake, this isn't a friendly competition. This is 2 high-level athletes with completely different play styles fighting for their NFL survival, splitting the highly coveted 11-on-11 duties. Every single throw, every read, every drop back is being heavily charted, analyzed, and scrutinized by the coaching staff. Look at how incredibly tight this margin is. On day 1 of the mandatory minicamp, both quarterbacks dropped back in team drills. And both quarterbacks walked away going exactly 6 for 7 passing. A perfect statistical tie. 6 for 7. And we aren't talking about simple, lazy flats or harmless checkdowns to the running back in the flat. We are talking about tight window, middle-of-the-field lasers. It brilliantly illustrates exactly how high pressure this environment has become. Neither man is blinking. Neither man is giving a single inch of ground. But as we all know, in the National Football League, absolute perfection is an illusion. Eventually, the crushing pressure forces a fracture. And that fracture happened to Riley Leonard, because while Anthony Richardson's one incompletion was just a harmless missed connection thrown out of bounds where nobody could catch it, Leonard's lone incompletion was a devastating interception. In a positional battle this tight, where the margins are literally razor thin, a single turnover isn't just a bad play, it is blood in the water. It could be the deciding factor that alters an entire career trajectory. That one critical mistake keeps the viewer, and more importantly, the coaching staff, completely on edge about who will actually emerge victorious by the time training camp concludes. Section 5. Rookies seizing the moment. Now, in the NFL, collateral damage for one player is almost always a life-changing opportunity for another. This is the silver lining of that brutal injury report we discussed, unproven depth suddenly seizing the moment. Remember that devastating interception thrown by Riley Leonard we just talked about? Well, the man who caught it wasn't a 10-year All-Pro veteran. It was rookie linebacker Bryce Boucher. Drafted 135th overall out of Oregon, he's a day 3 pick coming into the league with a massive chip on his shoulder. Boucher read the play, snatched that pass in 7-on-7s, and took it straight to the house. Boom. Just like that, the entire narrative changes. While second-round pick C.J. Allen is penciled in to start at Mike linebacker, Boucher's explosive playmaking ability is putting immediate, searing heat on veteran Akeem Davis-Gaither for the will linebacker spot. This is exactly how depth charts are completely rewritten in June. We see this exact same dynamic playing out in the violent trenches too. With right tackle Jalen Travis sidelined by that scary back injury, the offensive line wildcards are aggressively entering the fray. You have veteran insurance guys like Luke Tenuta and Blake Freeland looking to desperately hold their ground. But the real microscopic detail to watch here is Nolan Rucci. He is an undrafted rookie giant coming out of Penn State. Towering over the line of scrimmage at 6'8", Rucci isn't just big, he's an absolute mountain of a man trying to prove he belongs in this league. Offensive line coach Tony Sparano Jr. is legendary for demanding perfect footwork and a genuinely nasty demeanor from his swing tackles, and Rucci is battling right now, every single day, to prove he isn't just a warm camp body, but the next crucial piece for a team with genuine Super Bowl aspirations. So, all of this, the 7-on-7s, the agonizing rehab timelines, the unpadded intersections, all of it is just the prologue. OTAs are performed in shorts. It's basically a highly choreographed track meet, but the true test is right around the corner. Late July. That is when the pads finally come on. That is when the true, violent, unapologetic reality of NFL football begins. Training camp is entirely about survival of the fittest. It's about who can take a 300-pound man hitting them directly in the chest at full speed and still hold their ground. It's about who will rise to the occasion and who will inevitably crumble under the overwhelming physical and mental toll. So I leave you with this. When the pads finally crack in the blistering July heat, will this roster break apart under the crushing pressure? Or will it solidify into diamond? The answer to that question will literally define the entire season for the Indianapolis Colts. Thank you so much for watching this explainer on NFL Nexus. Trust me, this story is far from over. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment down below on what you thought. Who do you think is actually going to win that backup QB battle? Support the channel by becoming a channel member today. I'll see you in the next one.